The shout tore through the marble front entrance like a crack of thunder, sharp and desperate, coming from a man no one had ever noticed before. In a place built for power, wealth, and quiet obedience, the warning from a single dad janitor cut through silk gowns, flashing cameras, and the low hum of luxury engines. For one frozen second, everything stopped. Then, in front of executives, guests, and flashing lights, the CEO staggered and collapsed, turning an ordinary evening into a moment that would change lives forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet heroes hidden among us, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that the most powerful hearts are often invisible. He had arrived hours before the event, pushing a cleaning cart across polished floors that reflected chandeliers like upside-down stars. As a janitor in a high-end corporate hotel, he knew how to move without being seen. Years of being overlooked had taught him how to become part of the background, how to shrink himself so others could feel larger. His uniform was slightly faded, his shoes worn thin at the heels, and his shoulders carried a tiredness that came from long nights and early mornings. At home, a small apartment waited with a little girl asleep on a couch that doubled as a bed, her schoolbag hanging from a chair like a promise he struggled daily to keep. Life had not been kind to him. After his wife died suddenly from an illness that drained both her strength and their savings, he had been left alone with a child too young to understand why her mother never came back. Jobs disappeared quickly when grief slowed his hands and dulled his focus, and pride had eventually given way to survival. The janitor job was not a dream, but it paid the rent, kept the lights on, and allowed him to pack a simple lunch for his daughter each morning. Every sweep of the floor was done with the same care he used to braid her hair, because dignity, he believed, was something no one could take unless you gave it away. That night, the building buzzed with importance. A luxury car waited at the entrance, its dark surface gleaming under golden lights. Guests in tailored suits and flowing dresses gathered to witness the arrival of the company's CEO, a woman known for her brilliance, her cold precision, and her relentless climb to the top. She had built an empire where hesitation was weakness and emotions were liabilities. Cameras flashed as she stepped forward, confidence woven into every movement, unaware that something invisible was unraveling inside her body. As the janitor finished cleaning near the entrance, he noticed small details others missed. A slight sway in her step. A pause that lasted a breath too long. The way her hand brushed the car door not with elegance, but with a need for balance. Years earlier, he had watched similar signs in his wife, moments before her condition worsened. That memory rose suddenly, sharp and painful, lighting a fire of fear in his chest. His instincts screamed louder than his common sense, louder than the knowledge that people like him were not supposed to interrupt moments like this. When he acted, it was not bravery that moved him, but love. Love sharpened by loss. Love that refused to stay silent again. The warning burst from him, raw and urgent, echoing across the entrance. Heads turned in shock. Faces twisted with annoyance and disbelief. A janitor breaking protocol, breaking silence, breaking the invisible rule that said people like him should stay quiet. Before security could react, before embarrassment could settle into anger, the CEO's strength vanished. Her knees buckled, her body folding as if the ground had been pulled from beneath her. Panic erupted. The same crowd that moments earlier admired power now recoiled from vulnerability. The janitor dropped his cart and rushed forward, guided by memory and instinct, easing her down, keeping her head from striking stone. His hands shook, but his movements were careful, practiced by nights of holding a feverish wife, by fear learned the hard way. Minutes later, paramedics filled the entrance, their efficiency slicing through chaos. Doctors later said that if she had entered the car, the delay and pressure could have cost her life. A hidden condition, undetected by routine checkups, had reached its breaking point at precisely the wrong moment. The warning had bought time. Enough time for breath. Enough time for survival. In the days that followed, the story spread. News outlets spoke of a dramatic collapse at a corporate gala, then of the unlikely figure who intervened. For the first time in his life, the janitor saw his name printed, spelled correctly, not on a schedule or a paycheck, but in headlines. He did not feel like a hero. He felt tired, confused, and deeply afraid that attention might take away the quiet stability he had built for his daughter. But something inside him shifted. A small crack opened where hope could enter. When the CEO recovered, she asked to see him. Not as a gesture for cameras, but privately. She listened as he spoke about his wife, his daughter, and the instinct that had driven him to act. She saw in his eyes something she had not seen in boardrooms for years, sincerity untouched by ambition. Gratitude changed her in subtle but real ways. She reviewed policies she had never questioned, wages she had never considered, and lives she had never noticed. The janitor was offered a new role, not as charity, but as recognition of capability long ignored. More importantly, his daughter saw her father come home lighter, his back a little straighter, his smile less strained. The building remained the same, its marble floors still shining, its chandeliers still glowing. But something human had finally marked it. A reminder that greatness does not always arrive in tailored suits or luxury cars. Sometimes it pushes a cleaning cart, carries grief quietly, and loves fiercely enough to shout when silence feels safer. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of someone unseen or unheard in your own life, please like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to the channel so more stories like this can be told. Before the ending, we have one special request. Comment below with a single word that represents what this story made you feel. Because kindness does not announce itself with power. It whispers through ordinary people, waiting for the moment it is needed most.